All right, Shimanko. So today we're going to be talking about settling down or traveling because you might be in your early 20s and you just finished university and now you're getting a lot of pressure from your parents and your peers, and they're telling you, hey man, you got to settle down, you got to get your life together, you got to get that job, and yeah, really take life seriously. Um, because maybe you just got a degree and now you kind of feel stressed and you feel like I really have to compete now, and I really have to find something so that way I can kind of set myself up for the future. But at the same time, you might have this thing in your head that's telling you, come on, just travel, just go explore a little bit, take some time off, see the world before you actually like settle down in a place. And the thing is, you might be getting a lot of pressure from your family, you might be getting a lot of pressure from your friends, and everyone's telling you, just settle down, man, just settle down. And the thing that I'm not saying here is like, I'm not trying to bring down like the idea of settling down, because I think it's really important, and I think it's really important to establish yourself and to kind of develop your own business later in life. But I think when you're young, you need to travel, you need to explore, you need to see the world, because right now you're coming from a really narrow perspective, and that's not going to help you in establishing your life. I think it's really important to kind of explore the world and learn a little bit about the world before you settle down and try to establish yourself. So that way, yeah, you have this kind of open mind and you're not just thinking from a very narrow perspective. Because what will happen is you settle down, you're gonna get that job, you're gonna establish yourself, and you're just gonna get really comfortable in the city that you're living in. You're gonna have your social circle, you're gonna be going out with them, and that's not really gonna give you any initiative to travel later in life, because of comfort. So it's really important that you do it when you're in your 20s, so that way you have this kind of memory, or you have these experiences of you traveling, visiting new places, and having different perspectives. So what happens is, when you start to live in a city for a long time, you actually start to become a part of that city. And this happened to me several times. When I was living in the US, I was living in Chicago. I came from a little village in Poland, and then I moved to Chicago. And after a while, I started to kind of behave like the people over there. I started to take on the attitude of the people there. And I'm not saying Chicago is like a bad city, but it is very dirty. It is very, very smelly. There's a lot of homeless people there. Nothing against the homeless. And yeah, it's a very hard city. It's like a very industrial city, and you have to get things done. It's very focus oriented or business oriented. So you don't really get a lot of smiles, unless you go to Starbucks, then everyone smiles. But yeah, there's some parts that are nice and some parts that aren't nice, but it didn't really resonate with me. When I went to California and lived in Santa Monica, the people over there, they were so expressive and open, and they just didn't care. And after living there for a while, I kind of adopted this mentality and this attitude. And now coming to Poland and living here for a while, I'm adapting the attitude of the city called Krakow. It's kind of more reserved. The people are very humble, but they're very quiet and to themselves, and I'm sort of like becoming like this. I don't try to express myself too much, especially when I'm in public, because again, that's just the mentality of the city. So again, yeah, if they really ask yourself this question, like, can you spend the next 3 to 5 years in the city that you're living in? Because you're going to become like the city. The character of the city is going to mold you. So it's really a really important question to ask yourself. And yeah, if you answer no to that question, then it's time to start looking for a better city that fits who you are. And what I would do when if I'm traveling or looking for a new city to go to, I would look at the qualities and the characteristics of the city. So like the first thing I probably look at is the culture. Like, what type of culture do I want to experience? Do I want to experience a culture that's more reserved, a culture that's religious, and you can pick your religion. And yeah, look at things like this. If you go to Spain, there's a completely different culture than it is here. If you go to Italy, it's probably a lot different. So each country has sort of its own spice. So you kind of have to figure out what you want in a culture. Also look at the qualities of the city, like does it have a lot of parks, does it have a lot of churches, maybe if you're Catholic, does it have a lot of artistic people or musicians, and you can do some research, go in groups and see, ask people, you know, is there like a big music scene? So really look into that and find out like the qualities and the characteristics of the city that you want to travel to. And then the last thing just want to include in here is that if you've never traveled before and you just finished university, or you're in your early 20s and maybe you never went to university, then I think it's a perfect time to just travel for a little bit, for a few months at least, just to see what's around you and get some perspective on the world, because I think that traveling gives you like the best learning experiences. You know, school can teach you a lot of theory and they can give you a lot of techniques and you can learn a lot of skills, but life will give you actual experience and will help you expand your perspective a little bit. So it's very important to travel when you're young. And you know, when you're traveling, there's this idea of like, oh, you need a lot of money to travel, but actually traveling is very cheap. You just got to buy your tickets in advance if you're buying like bus or train tickets or plane tickets. Also, there's programs such as Workaway. There's where hosts offer jobs and they give you accommodation and food. There's things like couch surfing, where people give you accommodation for free if you're traveling through their cities because they just want to meet cool people. There's other things like you can work at hostels, and again they offer you accommodation and food, or resorts or hotels. You know, you just gotta do some research, you gotta look around a little bit, you gotta be a little bit open-minded and find ways around like the system and what everyone else is telling you. But if you actually want to learn about this a little bit more, you can check out my website. On my website I have articles and stuff on this that can actually help you with your travel, help you budget your travel, and help you just get more out of your travel and more out of life in general. But this is a little video that I wanted to make for you guys, because I know that when I was young I had this decision to make, whether I should settle down in the city I was in or whether I should travel and just explore and see what's out there. And there was a lot of fear in me, but I just decided to do it. And you know, once I did it, it actually wasn't that scary. So I want to encourage you to do it when you're still in your 20s. And that's basically it. Hopefully this video helped you. Peace out.